So New England moves on to 8-8. They now are fighting for that win and get in situation. They need to beat Buffalo. And do you need Miami to lose next week as well?
Nope. As long as the Patriots would win against the Bills, the Patriots would lock up that last wild card spot.
We were literally talking about the Patriots just a few weeks ago and saying their playoff chances were done with their inconsistencies, and now they are in control of their own destiny to make it into the playoffs for back-to-back years in Mac Jones' first two seasons. So, Kyle, can the Patriots get this done and move in? And what are your thoughts on you guys struggling against two backup quarterbacks against the Dolphins?
Well, a win is a win, but man, it came ugly. When it comes to the Patriots, I had faith that they could win against Teddy Bridgewater simply just because when Teddy Bridgewater has filled in for relief when Tua's been dealing with concussions this year, he just hasn't been able to do it consistently. And unfortunately for him, he suffered a finger injury, I think on his throwing hand. I think that was the play in particular where he threw a pick six to Kyle Duggar, and they had to rely on a third string to be able to get some plays for the Dolphins. But I mean, to focus on the game a little bit, the Patriots defense, they stepped up once again. Like I said, with Kyle Duggar getting a pick six, the Patriots defense this year has been the focal piece of this team. I believe they have like 6 or 7 touchdowns that have come from the defense this year. That's how good New England's defense has been able to get. Not only are they getting turnovers, they're instantly getting those turnovers and converting them into points. And that's huge for them because when it comes to the Patriots this year and their offense, especially when it comes to the red zone, it has been very shaky. They're one of the worst teams that performs in the red zone. Their red zone efficiency is just absolutely abysmal this year. So you got to give a lot of credit to the defense for being able to step up, make the plays that needed to be made, and then getting some points on top of that. And, looking at the Patriots as a whole, they're just a very shaky team this year. And it's really all tied back to the offensive play calling and the inconsistency that we've seen from Mac Jones and the offense to a larger extent. I mean, yeah, this is a 2-point win, but there's a lot of room left to be desired when it comes to the Patriots. Like, you compare this team to what they were last year. They've definitely taken a step back, and I think a lot of it just has to do with the coaching inconsistency on the offensive side of the ball. Now, going into the last week of the regular season, they got to play the Bills. There is no guarantee that the Bills are going to take this game off and, they're going to let the Patriots just waltz right into the playoffs. I don't see that happening. So what I see happening in Week 18 is going to be very difficult for the Patriots because as far as I see it, the Bills are they're not only one of the best teams in the AFC, they're one of the best teams in the NFL. They have one of the more well-rounded teams in the NFL with Josh Allen at the helm. That defense is nothing to slight about. And the way that I see it is the Patriots have to play inspired football basically at the minimum. They got to play their best game of the year going up against the Bills this upcoming weekend. Because if they don't, they give teams like the Dolphins a chance to get back into it. The Steelers have a chance to get back into it. I mean, those are the two teams that are really vying for that last wild card spot outside of the Patriots. And they have every incentive to go balls to the wall in Week 18. So, when I look at the Dolphins have been faltering the last month. They've lost 5 straight games. When it comes to the Steelers, they've won 5 out of their last 6 games. So, when you look at the scenarios that all of these teams have, they got to go and play amazing football for themselves going into Week 18. And then you just kind of live with the results. But when it comes to the Patriots and it comes to their playoff chances, I don't favor them here. I think if they were going up against a weaker opponent in the last week of the regular season, I would give them a chance. But with them going up against the Bills, and the Bills have something to play for because that number 1 seed is not locked up yet in the AFC, I think the Patriots are more than likely going to lose that last regular season game against the Bills, and then I think it opens up the rest of those AFC wildcard, I'd say teams on the bubble like the Steelers and the Dolphins to potentially sneak in and get that last wildcard spot. So I think things are going to be very chaotic in the AFC wildcard race going into the last week of the year, but it is no guarantee that the Patriots are going to keep that number 7 seed to get into the playoffs, and there's a very good chance that the Steelers or the Dolphins could sneak in to get that last spot based on how the Steelers have been playing the last couple of weeks. And when it comes to the Dolphins need to find some sort of saving grace here at the end of the year because, and Kev, they were 8-3 5 weeks ago. They're not 8-8. It's been an utter collapse from Miami. And for them to go from Tua potentially being the mid-season MVP to what this is right now, it's embarrassing. So there's a lot in the line going into this last week of the regular season, and we'll just kind of see how things play out. But to answer your question, Kev, I probably answered it a bunch of times already. I don't have a lot of faith in the Patriots getting this dub against the Bills in the last week of the season, and there's a very good chance that they can miss the playoffs because of that.
Well, I mean, you couldn't be given a taller task. I mean, to go out there and win to get in against arguably the best team in the league is a pretty tall task for anybody. But then you go and you make it an AFC East rivalry. Just it makes it that much harder. But anyway, to focus really on this game, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Miami's starting 8-3, or should I say, they were 8-3 at one point. To falter 5 in a row is just utterly atrocious. I mean, we have talked about this a multitude of times. Kyle and I have talked about this privately and with multiple people. It's just the Dolphins' schedule wasn't necessarily favorable, but it wasn't something where you were like impressed with what they were doing. So when they went on their little win streak, they beat the Steelers, who at the time were struggling and going in between Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky, the Lions, who gave them a good game, the Bears, Justin Fields, the Texans, the worst team in the league. And then you look at the string of opponents they've played in the last 5 games, the competition was risen. The 49ers, hottest team in the NFL. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, they haven't lost in about a month. The Bills, again, arguably the best team in the league. The Packers, on a resurgence that I have not expected, nor did anybody else, but that defense really solidified them to help win that game. And then you have the Patriots, who are also fighting for the same wild card spot that the Dolphins are, and it's a divisional opponent. So it's like, wow, they have kind of gone through I wouldn't say a gauntlet. The hardest games were probably those first 3 games, because the Packers game was definitely winnable. And obviously this Patriots game, albeit you had 2 backups, still was possible to win. The Dolphins just weren't able to rise to the competition. Tua hasn't looked good. I know that he's hurt and didn't play this game, but in the games that he was available, he didn't look very well at all. He didn't have a lot of touchdown passes. He didn't have a lot of glimpses to show me that he could overcome the adversity. The defense was looking very suspect. I mean, Xavier Howard wasn't available. Bradley Chubb wasn't available for this game. Armstead, the left tackle, wasn't available for this game. So, I mean, the Dolphins are legitimately just running on absolute fumes at this point to clinch a playoff berth. And I'm actually going to agree with Kyle here. I think for whatever reason, Pittsburgh may be the team to snatch this up, because for whatever reason, obviously you have the Patriots going against the Bills, the Dolphins going against the Jets, who have been eliminated, but have every reason to spoil the Dolphins to not get in. And that is going to be the pettiest of petty games, because it's one of those situations where we could have won and we could have been in, or could have won and helped our chances to go into a play-in game next week. And they fell and they lost to the Seahawks. And I think that Robert Saleh and that defense are going to come at this Dolphins struggling offense and say, we're not letting you score. Like Sauce Gardner and that defense they're no joke. So I think that the Jets I wouldn't even say upset at this point, but I think that the Jets end up beating the Dolphins next week. And I think that this is going to fall solely on whether or not Pittsburgh is going to be able to get a win next week. So this is going to be a very, very, very tough fight for the final AFC wildcard spot. But to just kind of give credit to where credit is due, again, the Patriots won the game that mattered the most. Defense did what it needed to do. And again, like I said to start it, Mac Jones played clean football. For whatever reason, the last couple of games, the Patriots have not been able to run the football as effectively as they usually have. I mean, between Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, I really do like when the two of them get a good head of steam going early and when they get a consistency rolling in the first half. But for whatever reason, the Patriots aren't really going run heavy as they normally do. But here we are, and I truly believe that the Patriots have an opportunity. But again, with you playing Buffalo, I don't necessarily think that that's going to be possible. But hey, kudos to you guys for staying relevant and not giving up when the adversity came. And you guys were up and down all year. So if you guys end up with an 8-9 record or a 9-8 record and you get into the playoffs, I would say that how it ended is better than how it started for sure.